Hello everybody, Joe Bagadones here, and welcome back for another episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa. Last time we left off, things aren't going so well. We fought a weird dragon thing, that was strange, and I still don't fully understand. Oh yeah, and also, poor Commissioner Man. Kageki's adoptee daddy, it got killed by, oh no, who could it be? Our love interest. Ooh. Except not really, I don't know. Kind of is, like, weird. It's like, she's only into, like, fucking Kageki right now just to, like, twist the knife and, like, hurt him, which is kind of toxic. Like, real fucking toxic. I don't fully understand her motivations. It sounds like she's doing for revenge, which, for who? I don't know. Like I said, was she just like, did she actually know that fucking reporter dude that we offed, in the, like, epilogue of chapter 5? Whatever his face, newspaper man? I don't know, man. Like, fuck. Oh, also I'm tired. I just rolled out of bed. I was up late. I was dog sitting over at my friend's house, and then they came back at like 1 in the morning, so I left because, I've stayed over at their house before, but, they just came back from traveling. I don't think they want me just, chilling in their house when they're trying to, like, recuperate from being on the road. So I got back at like 2 in the morning. My dinner consisted of like fucking 5 fried eggs, and that's it. And now I'm drinking some coffee. Well, I poured a cup. I haven't had a single sip yet. Which I'm almost done. I'm almost done with that Wawa blend pumpkin spice. Good riddance. Which means then I can finally move on to the bag of the, the regular blend that I bought, which it tastes like coffee. But what I really need to do, I need to go grocery shopping. I have like nothing in my house. I have like a single orange in the fridge, 4 eggs, and like a fucking jar of tomato sauce. Not much of a feast, if I'm gonna be honest. But there's a big storm today. It was raining and thundering earlier, but right now I looked at the weather radar. We're in a gap between like the section that's over the Carolinas and the Virginias right now. That's gonna blow up and hit us. We just missed like that big long strip that was going all the way up the East Coast. So seems like that was the worst of it, but I figure I should record now, just in case the weather gets worse and the shitty power lines near me fucking explode, which they have a tendency to do. I've seen fucking more transformers explode in the past couple of years living here in this shithole than I have in my entire life elsewhere. Even on base where I've worked, it was, it wasn't last winter. It was like 2 years ago now at this point. I was just standing in front of the airplane. It's like 2 in the morning because I was on night shift. It's snowing, the blizzard, but we've still got to do our thing. So I'm standing at the front of the jet with my back turned, do. And all of a sudden from behind me, from like where the rest of the base is in the road, it's like just bang. And it looked like the fucking sun was up for like 2 seconds. And I turn around and there's just like fucking like purple plasma everywhere, shooting off the lines, and the transformer exploded. I guess, it got too heavy with snow and like something drooped and it touched something else and caused a short, and it just went nope. Poof. And yeah, then power was knocked out for like that quadrant of the base for the rest of the day. Which was really annoying because I had a lot of tools checked out, and the way it works is like you go to, we have this little place where you check out all the tools you need to work, and then when you're done with them, you check them back in. So that way they can have like proper, accountability of where everything is. Well, the issue is that's all computerized. So when the shitty electrical systems explode and you lose power, you lose access to the internet there, where the fucking server is, and then everything has to be hand receipt just write it down on a piece of paper. And it's like, oh, cool, I have like 20 different things. And I'm like, yep, gotta fucking annotate all that. And then it sucks for them, too, because once the system comes back online, they need to enter in fucking all the paper receipts, which takes goddamn forever. I'm glad I don't work there. Sucks to suck, nerds. Blech. Anyway, yeah, hey Chachamaru, what's with this trial thing going on? Also, I've never stated it before, but I'm not a huge fan of the way like Japanese courts are set up, where like kind of it's like the defendant box. I think it's also like for witnesses, where it's like dead center in the middle. I'm not a huge fan of that, mainly just because I don't know. It's something about the vibe. I like the well, look at me, fucking, yeah, the Americans partial to the American system, go figure. Where the fucking the defendant or the witness who's being like cross-examined sits like next to the judge. I don't know. There's just something about the fucking not the vibe. What's the big word? The connotation. You know what I mean. Of instead of being like middle of the floor where everyone's fucking staring you down versus you're sitting next to the one presiding over the trial. It gives a different I can't think of the word right now. I just woke up. You can cut me some slack. Anyway, what's up, Chachamaru? Who and what are we trying?
被告人前へ。
はい。
検事。
ウィス。
まず罪状の告発を。
Okay, so this is all in his head. Gotcha.
被告港景明はとりあえず俺を殺しました。それから年派も行かないエミシの双子を殺しました。でもって学生の綾音一条を殺しました。んでフリーの記者の時田光雄を殺しました。
Yeah, that guy.
それと
おーいよ、いつまで続くんだよ。
じゃあ中略してあと一つだけ。
So it's not Chachamaru. We got Liger right now, or
あ
fucking
いつは
whatever
自
her
分の母
cover
親
name
も殺
was.
しました。以上。
はい、ご苦労さん。では弁護人。
はい。
弁護できるならしてみるがよい。
仕方なかったんです。
Oh, well, that's not. The judge can't say that. That's grounds for a mistrial right there.
は？
そうです。
じゃあ仕方ないな。
Shikatanai. Yep,
情
I'll
状
stick the
酌
words
量の
right
余
out
地
of
を
my
認
mouth.
める。無罪。
異議あり。
ああ。
弁護人に質問します。
You can't beat
仕方なかった
Shikatanai,
っ
my
てのは
guy.
一
Yeah.
体どう仕方なかったんですか。
被告人は幼い頃に両親を亡くし、かっこ中略、かっこ閉じる。
Etc. Etc.
愛情に飢えていた被告人は甘えようとしてうっかり殺してしまっただけであり、かっこ中略、かっこ閉じる。死体を押し入れに隠したのは清廉に生き返らせてもらおうという彼の善意の表れであって、かっこ中略、かっこ閉じる。以上の理由により、被告人に被害者への殺意はなかったと断
That's
定でき
that's
るの
not
で
how
あ
it
ります。
works. If anything, that's just how you get institutionalized.
ざけろ
Like, people think the insanity plea is like a fucking get out of jail free card. No, it's you still go to jail. It's just instead of general population, you go to like a fucking mental institution.
なんという弁護。突っ込みどころが多すぎてどこから突っ込んだもんだかわからねえ。
And you're almost never gonna fucking get out of there.
これって一種のノーガード戦法か。うかつに突っ込むとカウンター食いそうだ。
納得していただけましたか？
したような気もする。じゃ、閉廷すっか。
騙されないでください、判事。
何かご不満でも。
Yeah, it's like we're already after hours and I don't get paid overtime.
おいでか。
だって聞いてたろ今の。仕方なかったんだよ。殺意はなかったんだよ。ならごめんねって謝ってもらえばもう
Yeah,
そ
we
れ
all
でい
do
い
things
か
by
ら。
accident every now and again. Like I almost ran a red light the other day. I was going to take the road off of my base, but they had it closed for for like maintenance at the gate, and you know, it's fucking 1 in the morning. I just worked a full shift and I just want to go home. I'm not paying attention. I'm like, oh, the cones. Let me get back in the other lane and just keep going and fucking pull a Yui. Except like right where I turned, it's like, oh yeah, the traffic light. Oh yeah, it's red. Fucking slammed on the brakes. You know, I was a couple feet over the line, but you know, I made an effort to stop. It wasn't like I was intentionally gonna run it, so they just kind of gave me a look and then looked away. Thank you, law enforcement working the gate for letting me just go home on Friday.
よくねえよ。仕方なかろうが殺意がなかろうが、それで殺された方が納得いくわけねえだろ。
They're not gonna feel anything because they're dead.
法律は死人のためにあるんじゃないし、生きてる人のためにあるんだし。
Mm-hmm.
さすがは判事。資源であります。
おめえら、自分の言ってることが社会にどういう影響を与えるかとか、ちょっとは考えろよ、頼むから。
そんなこと言われてもにゃー。
Yeah, gotta follow to the letter.
これが仕事なので。
No room for personal feelings.
悪い意味で職業意識が発達しすぎた世界はほんとダメだ。
わがままな検事だな。
Yeah, we don't get paid to put our feelings into this.
仕方ねえ。妥協案を考えてやろう。
どんな？
影明ちゃんは悪くないから死刑になんかできねえけど、代わりにそこの弁護人を殺していい。
Oh, okay. What?
私ですか？まあ被告人さえ救えば私の仕事は果たされるので構いませんが。
検事は？
どっちかってと、今は被告人より弁護人の方がムカつく
Yeah,
し
bullet
ね。
slide.
大人になることも必要だよ。
そうですね。じゃあそれでいいです。
That makes everyone happy in the end, right? Wait. No. You can't.
どうかしたんかね被告人。口パクパクして。なんか言いたいことでも？
Something to say. I've killed those people. Those are my crimes. Why must someone else pay the price? I plead guilty. I demand justice done. Give me death. The noose is my...
なんも聞こえんね。
特に意見はないようです。
What? Can't hear me? What, did they got you like on a fucking little Hannibal Lecter kind of little box dolly with the mask on? Your little muzzle? Poison. The poison has robbed me of speech.
では、刑を執行する。エクスキューショナー、カモン。
No. No!
Go to hell!
Why? Why am I allowed to live while good men pay the price of my crimes? Is there no justice in this world? Well, not since you killed Ichijo, no. Please, someone tell me. How do I make it stop? What will it take to end the horror? To ensure that he is the last? Is suicide the only answer? Is a merciful death, an easy death, truly to be my fate? But what about my punishment? I'm supposed to suffer. Look at the blood on my hands. Has this not earned me torment? If not, if there is no force in this world that will destroy me for my sins, then what hope is there? What hope for the good? For those who struggled to be just and kind? Their lives had meaning. Their lives had worth. And I ended that. I stole their future. Please, someone, anyone. Man, I am just not a voice actor. Don't let their good mean nothing. Good question. Doesn't look like... Well, it's not your jail cell. It's a cell of some kind? Pretty cushy one, though, from the looks of it.
以上か。
はい。
舞殿の宮を取り逃がしたか。
ご期待に添えず申し訳ありません。処分は
Well, you gave the old college
謹ん
try.
でお受けいたします。
どうかお嬢様、いえ、大鳥隊をお責めにならないでくださいませ、中佐殿。
ええ、実はそうなんです。
というのは真っ赤な嘘だっぴょー。中佐殿、召喚は上官の命令に従っただけであります。責任の所在をお間違えなきよ。
So, Sayo, like, where do you fall in the organizational structure of GHQ? Are you like a civilian contractor who just so happens to be working with, you know, Kaine? Because what do you do? I know you're like her little fucking servant, but like where do you fall? You know, who's if someone's trying to send you a letter at the office, where do they address it to?
あなたそれでも私の従者？
言えた義理じゃねえだろ、腐れみかん。
まあいいさ。どうしても抹殺しておく必要があったってわけじゃない。
Yeah, after this, he's clearly, you know, his fingers are fully out of the pie. Nothing he can do.
ひとまず表舞台から退散させられたんならそれで十分だ。しばらくの間は余計なちょっかいもやめておとなしくしているだろう。その間に型はつく。すべて。ご苦労だった。下がって休んでくれ。
Oh, hell yeah.
期間の次の配置は追って伝える。
Got some comp time off for, you know, working the weekend.
はい、失礼いたします。
逃げたにしろ、逃がしたにしろ、消えたやつのことはどうでもいい。死んだやつも。だが、捕虜か。港影焼。
Yeah, good question.
さてね。
The room is clean, white, and very small, perhaps 3 meters to a side, though the lack of furniture makes it seem somewhat larger. Aside from the cot upon which I woke, a single chair and a few necessities are the only items of note. The walls, I realized shortly, are windowless, which is the largest contributing factor to the room's oppressive air. The ventilation grill near the ceiling might be keeping me alive, but its psychological benefits are dubious. My sluggish brain determines that the first order of business is to get out into the open air. I rise from the bed and move towards the door, but only make it a few steps before I stumble and nearly fall. My limbs feel like they belong to someone else. Carefully, like a puppeteer, I walk myself to the door. I grab the knob and turn. Again, this time I try pushing. Alright, so my door is locked from the outside. Well, those bars seem pretty wide, and they're right next to the door handle. How about you just reach through the bars and try opening it from that side? I'm a prisoner. No, there's another possibility. This might be a hospital. The door might be locked for my own safety, and that of the other patients. In which case, the first thing I should do is let someone know I'm awake. I mean, not entirely unreasonable. It's a big thing with, like, stretchers and, like, litters where they have, like, restraining straps. Because a lot of the times, if someone, like, wakes up from being unconscious, they're completely disoriented and they'll just freak out. And just kind of lash out. So, it's for their own safety and everyone else's. You keep them kind of, you know, in place.
失礼。どなたかおられませんか。もし。
Be quiet!
OK。
Prisoner it is. Still, I have to wonder at the voice of my jailer. He's speaking English, no mistaking it. And that suggests...
俺は進駐軍に拘束されているのか。
I mean, I don't think you're in too much danger. Because as far as GHQ is concerned, you're just kind of... they probably don't know what to think of you, to be honest. Because your actions are against Rokuhara, and they're against Kinseigo, not really against them. You know, you butted heads with them occasionally, but it's not some you know, unreconcilable, you know, difference there. That this does not come entirely as a surprise, I take as a sign that my memory is whole. Far too little time has passed to forget their trap on Enoshima. That plan of theirs failed due to Kinseigo's apocalyptic intervention. But of course, they would not have given up trying to remove me from the picture. Not if it was worth the first attempt. I suppose, you know. Is that like, you know, a policy from top to bottom? Or was that just kind of like fucking Gorget, whatever his fucking name was? You know, was that his thing? Or was this, you know, old Clive boy over there, you know, talking with Otori? You know, he's involved too, so... Okay, maybe it is kind of unreconcilable. Words, they're hard. There's a lot of them. The question is, why now? I can't imagine. No, wait. The attack on the prince, that must have been GHQ. Which means that so is he. Before the onslaught of pain splits my head like a melon, I force my thoughts onto a different path. Muramasa, where's she? Not here, I know that without looking. It'd be absurd to lock a Musha in the same room as his Tsurugi.
Muramasa.
No response.
Muramasa.
Still nothing. Either she cannot hear me, or she can, but cannot respond. This has never happened before, and the experience is not a pleasant one. When joined, the Tsurugi and its pilot form a single whole, a Musha. As a rule, nothing can break this bond, or prevent the two from communicating even over great distance. The only explanation for Muramasa's silence, the only thing that could keep her from responding, is if she is no longer able to do so. Which is to say, if she has been destroyed. Or if she has been sealed in an isolation box. Yeah, you know, just a lead-lined box that, you know, the radio waves can't get through. Or, you know, psychic telepathic waves. It's tinfoil lined in that case. I can't think of a reason GHQ would go to the trouble of keeping my Tsurugi alive. I am, after all, their enemy. But the fact that I did not succumb to the tetrodotoxin suggests that she survived at least long enough to purge my body of the poison. In any case, I have no way of ascertaining the truth at present. My only choice is to wait and see what my captors have in store. Not much of a choice at all, but so be it. Exhaustion still lies deep in my bones, so I return to my cot and stretch myself out, resolved to recover as much of my strength as I can for whatever lies ahead. Did you bring us a cake with a file in it?
態度の。
これは港様。天井からご出現とは、さすが一筋縄ではいかぬお方でございますな。
What you doing up there? Even how'd you even get up there?
いや、何やってんだよ、あんた。
休んでいようと思ったのですが、どうにも落ち着かず。
I know you like doing your inverted sit-ups, but where are you hanging your feet?
普段の？
お気になさらず。
気になりますわや！あなたは体を動かしたくなると天井からぶら下がるんですか？普段から！
Alright, I guess it's just a, you know, exposed rafter. He's just got his legs wrapped around.
血行が活発になるせいか。
んなことは聞いてません！
足と腹筋の鍛錬にもなるのですが。
That is important. You know, your core affects a lot of exercising that you do. Running, you need a good core. Lifting, want a good core.
地球人と会話している気がしない。落ち着かれませお嬢様。たとえ天井から人間が垂れ下がってきても取り乱してはならないとお父様が口を酸っぱくしておっしゃっておられたのをお忘れですか。
I don't think he was referring to people doing core exercises, if that's even a thing he actually said. Sounds more like, swinging from a rope, kind of hanging from the ceiling.
忘れる以前にそんなピンポイントの教育を受けてません。
What's happening? My God!
扉の外におられた方ですか？
Pleasure to make the acquaintance.
宣告はお騒がせしました。
いいえ、今も騒がせておりますよ。っていうかそろそろ降りろよ、怪奇コウモリ男。
Well, I didn't hear Batman said there, but it is the 40s, so Batman has been in serialization for 20-something years? When was the first issue of Batman? Good old Detective Comics. I want to say Batman's from like the 20s. Batman first publication. Detective Comics 27 was... Oh, no. 1939. He just looks like a dweeb. He looks older than that. His shitty fucking design. Anyway. That would be a In Vogue pop culture reference right there, taking place, diegetically in the story.
いらぬ辛労をかけてしまったようで。
いえ、かなりのハートブレイクショットではありましたけど。
A what?
なんか豪快に負けましたな、お嬢様。人間衝撃力勝負とかそんなものに。
そうね。ペナルティエリアの反則で PK もらって3-1点と思ったところにサードの隠し球ランナーアウト、試合終了。採点の結果2対1で判定負けって感じではあったかしら。I was with you there in the beginning,
but no, we're just stringing it all together, huh?
次からはお嬢様も量子論に基づいて壁をすり抜けつつ登場するくらいの芸をなさらなくてはいけませんな。
生きにくい世の中ね。
Yeah, they've worked his core strength so much that he's just able to, flex it so quickly that he's able to vibrate his molecules through the wall. Did not have to wait long before receiving my first visitors. And that it would be these two is no surprise. This is, after all, a GHQ facility, and they serve GHQ. Their purpose, however, remains a mystery. I have little choice but to try and get the answers myself.
タイ殿。
はい。
まず、自分から質問をしてもよろしいか。
どうぞ。
She seems willing enough. After a moment's consideration, I begin with the most pressing matter at hand.
マイ殿の宮殿下はいかがされましたか。
県庁寺からは無事に脱出されたようです。ご遺体は見つかりませんでしたし、今頃はどこかに潜伏して様子を伺っておられるのではないかしら。
そうですか。
I exhale. The weight of my shoulders lessens slightly. I mean, the weight on my shoulders slightly. The weight on my shoulders slightly less. I exhale. The weight on my shoulders slightly less. That's. Am I dumb? Don't answer that because I know I am, but that feels like it's a fucking typo. The weight on my shoulders slightly less. I feel like that should be, lightens slightly? What? Slightly less. That can't be. I'm just gonna Google slightly less and see if that even comes up with anything. Or slightly lessens? Slightly less. You can use it to indicate a slight reduction or decrease in something. Okay. So it's just an abbreviation of, like, slightly lessens, except, it doesn't have the ins at the end. So I guess that is proper English, but it's weird English, which makes sense for old Kageaki here. It's probably archaic English of some variety. While this situation can hardly be said to have improved, the prince is cunning and resourceful. If he survived the attack, then he will find a way to keep surviving. I can do nothing for him now. It's time to look to my own circumstances.
自分はどうしてここにいえ、まずここはどこでしょうか。
横浜です。
Answer, despite its brevity, tells me all that I need to know. Yokohama. I'm being held at GHQ's home base.
では、なぜ自分は県庁地で倒れていたと思うのですか。
ええ、それをサヨが拾って車でここまでお連れしたのです。ね。
は。
So, that's your story. You're sticking to it, huh?
それはお手数をかけまして。
いいえいいえ。
The old woman's reply has the air of a shrug, suggesting that she realizes how I might not be certain whether thanks are truly in order.
そうか。
The picture begins to take shape. For reasons still unknown, GHQ tried to assassinate the prince. Captain Otori called to warn me, then was present during the assault at Kenchoji, where she found me unconscious, brought me back to Yokohama, and locked me in this cell. Is that it?
村正、自分の剣は。
無論一緒にお連れしました。今は別室でお休みでございますよ。
残念ながら合わせて差し上げるわけには参りませんが。
Yeah.
とは、なぜでしょうか。合わせられないとは。
For the first time, silence greets my question. But the look on the captain's face is not that of someone who's searching for an answer. Rather, she seems to be savoring the silence, this pause before I can reach the answer myself. Not that I need any time at all to do so. There's only one reason to separate me from my Tsurugi, so that I cannot use it. And there's only one reason for her to fear my using it, because she's my enemy. So she was not at Kenchoji to support me or the prince, but to carry out her duty to GHQ. Given her behavior prior to the attack, as well as the attempt by GHQ's Major Garget to eliminate her during the Enoshima affair, it seems unlikely that her decision was motivated by loyalty. But whatever the case, the fact is that this time, she chose a position which put her in conflict with mine. Her warning, which would appear at odds with GHQ's purpose, might have been intended to draw me out so that I could be disposed of together with my patrons. Makes perfect sense. The only question now is why GHQ went after the prince in the first place. And of course, one more thing.
大鳥大尉殿。
はい。
現在自分が生存を許されている理由は何でしょうか。
心臓が動いているからではありませんの？
Yes, but why do the higher powers at being here, deign me to live? She doesn't even try to hide the mockery in her voice. Unperturbed, I continue.
停止させることはたやすかったはずです。
そうかしら。
自分のこめかみに銃口を押し当て、引き金にかけた指へ 100g ほどの力を与えるだけで。
I regained consciousness barely an hour ago. Even if she'd preferred a less expedient method, she had plenty of time to do as she pleased. But the captain just laughs, deep in her throat, a sound like fingers tapping on a drum.
そうですね。
But where's the fun in that?
けれど私にもいろいろ都合というものがありますの。
よろしければお聞かせ願いたい。
よろしくってよ。
Well, her reason is she probably just wants to fuck with you more. GHQ reasons? Maybe they think they could flip you? She smiles sweetly.
まず一つには影明様を生かして連れてきてほしいと頼まれていたこと。
Oh yeah, they also probably want some answers like, where the fuck did you get a Saruki?
頼まれた。GHQ の中の人間に。
It's like, what is your end goal? Yada yada.
え？
どなたでしょう？
I haven't a clue. Except for the captain, there's no one in GHQ I might label an acquaintance, much less a friend. Nor have I recently helped any mysterious foreigners who might have been GHQ agents undercover. There is no reason that anyone here should care about my safety.
ウォルフ教授と呼ばれている方です。NRS で顧問をしていらっしゃる。ご存知ありません？
No.
いえ。
Wolf? That's a German name.
お知り合いではないんですの？あの方、どうして影明様の身を気遣われたのかしら？
学者という人種はいささか常人の理解からはみ出した部分を往々にしてお持ちですので、まあ港様に関する報告の中に何か教授の興味を刺激する部分でもあったのでは？
なのかしらね。性的興味とかでなければ良いのですけど。
Hey man, when in Rome?
それは自分も死に物狂いで困ります。
いずれ教授とは面会の場が設けられるはずですから、真実はその時直にお確かめなさいまし。それはそれとして。
Would you mind elucidating us?
理由はもう一つ。こちらが私の個人的事情。
Your smile deepens. I behold what it contains. One will, one emotion. Pure, unfettered. Certainly settles over me like a warm blanket. At last, there is no room to doubt.
俺はこの人に
Yeah.
憎まれている。
Pure, unfettered malice.
影明様、あなたをやすやすと死なせたくはなかったから。
Like water from a spring, it rises. Cold, clear, inexhaustible. The sound of a bell strikes 4 times, calls my attention to the corner of the room, where I only just now noticed the grand clock standing there. What could be the purpose for such an incongruent embellishment? To underscore the bleakness of my cell through its opulence? To give me some means of telling the time in the absence of sunlight? Perhaps they meant it to help me come to terms with my fate, to grant me resolution as it counts down to my doom. A kindness, in other words, laden with enmity. Or perhaps they had nowhere else to put it.
早朝なのか夕方なのかお悩み？
Yeah, is that 4 a.m. or p.m.?
それもいささか。
早朝です。影明様がお目覚めになったと聞いてすぐに来てしまいましたけれど、考えてみれば非常識でしたね。
Yeah, do you think we could talk over like your revenge quest, like, you know, over breakfast?
このさよめがうかつでございました。港様、無礼をお許しくださいませ。
謝罪などご無用に。すぐに来ていただけたことはありがたく思っております。
Otherwise, I would still be stewing in my questions. So, 4 in the morning. I'm surprised that so little time has passed since I blacked out at the temple. From the dull weight in my head, I could have sworn that at least a day had gone by. Perhaps it has, and an extra half day besides. In any case...
態度の。
はい、影明様。
Yeah, what's what kind of beef you got going on here?
初めてお会いしたのはあの村。
ええ、あの山の上。
あれからまださほどの時は流れておりません。
でもその間にいろいろとありました。悪代官を相手に立ち回ったり、アーマーレースをめぐる陰謀に介入したり、江ノ島に潜り込んででっかい変なのと戦ったり。
Yeah, and it kind of feels like our personal relationship got a little distorted in there somewhere.
はい。
どれ一つとっても400字詰め原稿用紙300枚くらいなら埋められそうな事件でございましたな。
Yeah, even more. We gotta read it all out loud.
しかし大義、自分にはわからないのです。気づけば
Yeah.
あなたは自分に悪意を抱いておられた。
Like, it's fine that, you know, you hate us, whatever. That's just the way it is in life, but why?
自分は短い交際の中でいついかなる理由によりあなたの悪意を得たのでしょう。いいえ、そもそも理由はあるのでしょうか。
Or are you just such a fickle woman? I'm not so naive as to assume that hate must always be logical. Sometimes people are incompatible, and I would never, not even in jest, claim to be a likable sort. Still,
理由ならありましてよ。
are you gonna tell us?
とてもわかりやすくて、とても単純な。
それを自分が知らないのはやはりとてつもない失態なのでしょうか。
If indeed I have committed an offense against her, then it is only compounded by my lack of awareness. I must apologize, even if it will change nothing. But the captain only shakes her head, a terribly elegant gesture.
いいえ、どうかお気になさらないで。影明様が理解しておられないのはとても自然なことなのです。
お聞かせ願えるでしょうか。
Yeah.
もちろん。
Your smile deepens, malice and all.
そうするためにお助けしたのですもの。ぜひにも聞いていただきます。
Weave us a yarn.
少々長い話になってしまいますけど。
お構いなく。幸い、今の自分は暇を持て余す身です。
A poor attempt at humor, but the captain laughs. And when she is done, the story begins. In Yamatoan warrior society, few clans are more famous than House Otori. Its roots stretch back over 1,000 years, past the Heian court from which so many other legends sprung. Of the famed Shakinten warrior houses, Otori alone remains to this day. In centuries past, the Otori clan leaders often commanded the Emperor's Musha. This did not change even after the Rikuefu? Riku? I can't remember if E after a U just makes it a long U, or if the E is also pronounced. I'm gonna assume it's just a long U. Rikufu was established as the governing body of the warrior elite. Many Riku shoguns bore the name Otori. For a time, the position was even passed down exclusively within the clan. Thus, where pedigree is concerned, not even the current ruling house of Yamato, Ashikaga, can compare. History and the laws of nature teach that nothing lasts forever. So, what enabled the Otori to stand through the ages, even as other, no less vulnerable clans fell before time's relentless advance? The answer is a simple one. For that hundreds of years, the Otori clan managed to avoid the infighting that inevitably weakened and destroyed its peers. A miraculous tradition of solidarity, to be certain, and one that, alas, came to a close in the early 20th century. In the 30th year of Koryu, Yamato was preparing for war. Though no shots had yet been fired, diplomatic tensions between Yamato and the League of Nations continued to grow as East and West both raced to secure their interest in Han and Southeast Asia. Yeah, I was gonna say that should line up with about when Japan invaded Korea. When was the first? Oh god, I'm dying. The first Sino-Japanese War. Sino-Japanese War. That's World War II. I want the first one. Yeah. 1844. At the time, The leader of the Otori clan, Tokiharu, was firmly opposed to any sort of accord with Europe. A staunch militarist, he advocated force as the only solution, and, by and large, the nation bent to his will. One exception to this was his younger brother, Tokitsugu, who was also Kaine's father. He feared what war with the West might bring, and saw his elder sibling's actions as reckless in the extreme. Finally, after all else had failed, he staged a coup for control of the clan. Defeated, Tokiharu was imprisoned and passed away shortly after. It was, of course, rumored that his brother had hastened his demise, but no concrete evidence of this emerged. As for Tokiharu's young son, the rightful heir to Otori, he vanished during the coup, rescued by a loyal vassal and placed in hiding. Having now seized power, Kaine's father proceeded to lobby for a less aggressive foreign policy. His efforts met with fierce opposition, however, and not least from inside his own clan. As it turned out, even those members who had been his allies did not appreciate his trampling over 1,000 years of Otori tradition. Facing resistance and sabotage on all possible fronts, Tokitsugu found his agenda impossible to achieve. He fought valiantly, but to no avail. The clammy hand of fate already had a firm grasp on his shoulder. At the time, one branch of the Otori clan was led by a man who had not been born to the position. Adopted into the clan as a child, he had earned his place through strength and skill, such that even his youth was no obstacle. This man was Otori Shishiku, and his uncle had been his patron. Naturally, he was not inclined to forgive Tokitsugu's betrayal. He could not, however, quit moving like that. It was really distracting how he was like zooming in but also sliding. He could not, however, rectify it simply by staging a coup of his own. He was only a branch house member, and one who did not possess Otori blood. For him to take the clan leader's mantle would only compound Tokitsugu's error. If he were to act, it could only be in the service of a legitimate Otori successor. And for this role, he of course sought his master's missing son. He sent out search parties, scoured the countryside, but years went by with no word of the child, and war was fast approaching, yet Tokitsugu refused to ready his armies for battle. Realizing that Tokitsugu would cling to peace even as the first shots fell, Shishiku was the last force to make his move. He struck hard and fast, assassinating Tokitsugu with a group of handpicked warriors, and installed Tokitsugu's second daughter, Aine, in his place. That's an outfit. Very frilly. Needless to say, Aine was not at all eager to play puppet to her father's killer, and for his part, Shishiku was just as reluctant to have her. As far as he was concerned, she was only a stopgap until her cousin had been found. The Otori clan was Shishiku's now. He made ready to throw its full resources into the search. And that was when the war began. It was only 6 years later, in the 41st year of Koryu, that his search finally bore fruit. There's no coincidence that this was also the year which Kaine returned to Yamato. She had been studying in Europe at the time of the coup, but though her home had been stolen from her, the quight of her country and her family still weighed heavy on her mind. Through her own sources, she had gathered what news she could regard regarding Yamato, and especially House Otori. So it happened that one day she learned her cousin's whereabouts, and also that Shishiku would soon learn the same. Taking advantage of the rank she had earned in the military of Habsburg, Kaine had herself assigned to the Allied Expeditionary Force of Yamato. And thus, she returned to her homeland as a member of the army which had occupied it. That was early autumn this year. Okay, and how do we,
ご帰国は父の仇討ちのため。
And where do we fall into that?
そうですね。その気もないといえば嘘になりますけれど、シシクへの復讐しかやることがないなら、この国へ戻ることはなかったでしょう。ヤマトに帰ってきた理由は2つあるのです。一つはノーブルの血統に連なる者としての責務を果たすため、我々は民衆を守る対価として彼らから糧を得ていたのですから。
Okay.
ヤマトがかつてない危難の中にあるとき、遠い国からのんきに眺めているわけには参りません。私には国民を救うためになすべきをなす義務があります。
You say as you're part of one of those organizations that is doing just that, but I'll ignore that for now.
まさにまさに。
I nod my agreement. Though much has changed in modern times, the noble, which is to say warrior, class exists to defend the powerless. That is their primary value to society. Though throughout history, too many noble houses have pursued power for its own sake. Perhaps part of the reason for House Otori's success is that they never forgot this truth.
そしてもう一つ、家族を守るため。
Yeah, your family is kind of a fucking mess.
妹君ですか。
ええ、花江、私の最後の肉親です。
お嬢様とは7つ違いであらせられますな。
A significant gap. I suppose I must add to her worry.
まあ実際のところ、あの子のことは割とついでというか、かなりどうでもよろしいのですけど。
What, is she the capable sort?
は、
さようでございますね。
Mm.
お嬢
you just
様
don't
の
like
ご
her.
留学前の時点で姉妹喧嘩の勝敗は五分五分に迫っていたと記憶しておりますし。
と組合で勝っても最後に落とし穴にはまっているのは私だったりするのよね。
Yeah, that's the plight of the younger sibling. You can never win with brute force, so you gotta learn to use your brain.
悪辣な策謀に長けた末恐ろしい姫様でございました。
そうそう、私とはもう似ても似つかぬ。
悪逆な暴力に長けたお嬢様とは嫌になるほど血のつながりを感じさせましたな。
It's rough
一
being
体
the
何
younger
の
sibling.
呪いであのお優しい旦那様と奥方様からこんな地獄チック姉妹が生まれ
Yeah,
た
my
や
older
ら。
sister was a fucking violent beast growing up. It was awful. Compound the matter, you know. We both did martial arts. We both had our black belts, but, you know, girls hit puberty first and they get taller. So she had like a fucking head and a half on me for like a good part, you know, before I hit puberty. So, no way to win those fights.
実は橋の下から拾われてきたのでしょうか。
ねえバンヤ、前から聞きたかったのだけど、あなた主従関係っていうものを何だと思っていて？
Like I said, I don't know. Like, clearly she's employed by you. But does she just, like, get to tag along? And, like I said, where does she fall in the GHQ, like, organizational structure? If I look at the recall roster to see, like, who reports to who and, like, whose phone number you have to call during a recall, where does she fall? Is she even on there? Is she just, like, an addendum to yours, you know? Just, like, tacked on to your name in parentheses? I gather the captain's relationship with her sister is complicated.
要するにでございますね。現在は傀儡当主に甘んじているとしても、いつまでもそのままでいるとは到底思えないようなお方でありまして。
は
誰かの助けなどなくとも、あと数年の時間があれば、シシクを排除して名実揃った当主になるでしょうね。さっき、仇討ちのためなら帰らなかったと言ったのは、
She'll handle all that on her own.
私が出しゃばるより妹に任せておいた方がずっとスマートに周りへの迷惑も最小限で片付くんですもの。それが分かっていては何もできません。
シシク殿にもその方が辛いでしょうな。花江様は真の残虐さを備えたお方。
A habit of nobility, it seems.
そういう妹なんです。だから私が守りたかったのはあの子よりももう一人の方。
Okay.
私と花江のいとこ、シシクが島の子で求めた大鳥本家正統の着手。
しかし
From what I heard, it sounded like their uncle was their enemy. Why would she protect his son?
政治的事情だけが人間関係の全
Yeah,
て
maybe she
で
just
はご
likes
ざい
him.
ませんよ、港様。
ほ
親同士の関係は複雑でしたけれど、子供はまた別だったということです。私も花江もいとこのことはとても好きでした。あの小さな男の子を抱っこすると、なんだか幸せな心地になれて。花江もそうだったから、今日はどっちが彼を抱くのかでまた喧嘩になって。花江は言い名付けとして、
Oh.
私は将来の義手として、あの子
So
を
your
階
cousin,
段
huh?
に入れる権利は自分にあるんだと言い張って譲らなかったものです。
Well, I suppose this is Japan, and they are nobility, but gotta keep it all in the family, I suppose.
そうでしたか。では守りたかったというのは。
彼は大鳥一門の遠縁にあたる家庭で平穏に暮らしていました。何も知らず。どう考えても大鳥の当主なんかに祭り上げられるよりそのままの方が幸せでした。それでも彼自身が当主だろうと望むならいい。
Well,
けれどシシクはきっと彼の自発的意志などに肯定しない。拒まれれば腕ずくで奪う。
You said you cradled him in your arms when he was a baby, so like how
彼を救うつもりで
big
した。
of an age gap we talking here?
彼の幸福を守るため、花江が用済みの道具として処分されるのを防ぐため、私はそうしようと思っていた。なのに何もできなかった。
From the corner of Captain Otori's perfect mouth, a trickle of blood reaches towards her chin. She must have bitten through her lip. From experience, I know that the pain is but an echo of what is in her heart.
なぜ
なぜ
なぜですと？
影明様、よろしくて。その男の子は私たちが愛していた。
Uh-huh.
その子は、
Mm-hmm.
ね、名を夕日
Oh.
というのです。
おい、そこのクラグラとした悪党！すいません、うまく言葉になんないです。でも俺はリツを探すために何かしたいし、そうするべきだとも思うんです。信じるよ。この世には村正っていう名の正義の味方がいるってことを。
彼は死んでしまった。
Yeah.
ええ、死んでしまったのです。私にも花江にもシシクにも全く関係のないところで。
Yeah, it's like a car
唐突
accident.
に。それは誰よりも影明様がご存知でしょう。
Well.
知らぬはずはありませぬな、村正殿。誠に失礼ながらいろいろ調べさせていただきました。何より江ノ島であなた様と反町殿のお話を不作法にも盗み聞いてしまいまして。
Okay, so that's where it really kind of, makes sense.
悪人を切る
Where
た
it
び
kind of clicked
善
for
人をも切らねば収まらぬとは難儀な剣をお使いでございますな。
そんな剣でも使わなくてはならなかったのですね。
Mm-hmm.
銀星号、あの魔物がもたらす災いを止めるために。
But, for you, none of that matters. You don't care about that.
なんということなのでしょう。お察しいたします。銀星号の卵を受けた者は切らねばならない。切るけれど切ればもう一人何の罪もない人を切らなくてはならなくなる。
Yeah, it's pretty rough, huh?
それでも無数の人々の命には変えられない。だからあなたは切った。
Yeah, it sounds so noble and romantic when you put it like that.
さぞおつらかったことでしょう。お苦しかったことでしょう。
Pale fingers brush my frozen cheek. A lover's touch, tender and wanting.
けれど 許しません。
Yeah, but I don't care.
あなたは夕日を殺した。あの子の命を力ずくで奪った。それが本当にどうしようもなくやむを得ない選択であったとしても、あなたが強いた一つの嘆きにかけて、私はあなたを許しません。
Sure, alright. An ardent passion burns in her eyes. I cannot look away. Such purpose. She will not be denied, no matter who or what stands against her. She will claim my life, perhaps right here, before I can take my next breath. My knees shake, my bowels loosen. I've never felt fear like this. I've never felt fear at all. Really? Okay. Not truly. Not until this moment. I want nothing more than to flee, to scream, to throw myself at her feet and beg. Would that work? If I abandon pride and honor and dignity, if I plead and weep and cry, I'm so sorry, will she be moved to forgiveness?
あなたは
はい。
俺は自分を
おや、どうされましたか、港様。先ほどは平然と、なぜ自分を殺さなかった、簡単に殺せたはずだ、などとおっしゃられていましたのに。
Well, because now he's kind of realized what he's done and he probably feels real bad about it.
お声が震えておりますよ。
Yeah.
化けの皮でも剥がれましたかな。
Even the old woman's blatant taunting cannot spur me to break the chains binding my tongue. For a time, the only sound in the cell is my breath, heavy and fearful. But at last, I managed to speak the dreadful words.
殺すのですか。あなたはもうご存知だ。
Yeah, you know it's not my fault, right?
そのこと、銀星号のこと。
Also, we kind of still got, stuff to do.
自分がどうして彼を殺したのか、それらすべてを理解して。
Yeah, like she was getting at, she doesn't care.
自分を
許しません。殺します。
自分が泣いて慈悲を乞い、残りの命のすべてを贖罪のために費やすと誓い、あなたの足元に伏して願って。
おやおや。
それでもあなたは。
ええ、影焼様、決して許しません。
You're so mean. He's just a little guy. There is no escape from this avenger, no mercy to be found. My crimes will be punished.
不本意でしょうね。けれど遊戯だって不本意な最後を受け入れたんですもの。
Yeah, but
影焼様も我慢して
it's
くだ
not
さ
like
い
we
ました。
wanted to do it. We only killed him because we liked him so much. It's how it works.
当然でございますな。
安心なさって。今すぐにとは申しません。銀星号の一件が片付くまでは待って差し上げます。これまで通り協力もい
Oh,
たしま
okay.
しょう。
So you'll just kill us after, everything's, wrapped up in a nice little bow.
あれは私としても知らぬふりのできない問題。解決するには影焼様のお力がいります。
Yeah, I'm a professional. I can put aside personal feelings for, accomplishing the mission. It's just, the issues start once the mission's over.
ですから、
For you, anyway.
それが済み次第。よろしくって。もちろん、抵抗せずに死ねなんて無慈悲なことは申しません。あの剣で戦われます。遠慮は無用です。
Mhm.
実は 影明様ももうご覧なのですけれど。
You killed someone I love, I killed someone you loved, you know, it's like we can hate each other equally. As my knees hit the floor, I take her hand and lift it to my lowered head. Tears dot her cold, white palm. I can no longer keep them contained. Oh yeah, because you were begging to be fucking punished, you know, get your retribution or whatever.
Eh?
So really, you know, oh, you're gonna kill me for what I've done? Oh, thank God. Finally, maybe this will grant my soul some salvation or whatever. It's what I deserve. The lowly worm that I am. I'm just a little worm in the dirt. I deserve to be stepped on. In her voice, I have heard that every word is true. This woman will never forgive me. She will take my life for the wrong I've done. Ah, she's perfect. My executioner. My nemesis. She will give me the fate I deserve. Nito Yuhi will be avenged. I thought that justice would be denied, but here it is, like manna from heaven. I've watched some biblical scholarship, you know, YouTube channels. Manna is most likely was a kind of fucking mushroom, an edible mushroom. So he got some mushrooms. Otori, your mushroom mommy. And thus, all is right with the world. I can ask for nothing more.
Otori Kanae. あなたにすべて捧げます。この港影明のすべてを差し出します。何もかも。あなたに従いましょう。生も死も。
Well, now she's like, oh, what the fuck? You took all the fun out of it. Like, it was supposed to be like tormenting you, like, ooh, holding it over your head, you know, like just letting the rope go a little and then catching it, be like, ooh, did that make you jump? Ooh, did you think I was gonna get you? But no, he's like, yes.
いつなりとこの首に裁きの刃を。
The relief is overwhelming. A dark world filled suddenly with light. I will do my duty, defeat Kinsego, and when the curse demands an innocent life, this woman, this vengeful goddess, will be there to end me. As the man weeps into her palm, Otori Kaine tries to understand. Grief, rage, resignation. These reactions, and more she expected. Not this. Not gratitude. What is this, she asks herself. What does this man want? She's like, damn, fucking kind of got left blue ball there. God damn. Nice stash, dude.
どこへ行ってしまったやら世話のかかるリトルガールだ。捕まえたらパンツ脱がせて陰謀抜くか。
Oh.
抜くな誰のことか知らんけど。
おやおや、リトルガールを探していて別のリトルガールに出会ってしまったよ。君はいつも寝室鬼没だね。パンツ脱ぐ？
脱がん。
これだ。
You sure?
人間というやつはどいつも自分だけが正しいと信じ、あらゆる他人は愚かだと信じ、神を疑い真理を嘲笑う。そしてパンツを脱がないのだ。なぜだ？
Why indeed?
だからさ、そんなに脱がせたけりゃ自分の脱がせよ。
Yeah, but there's no fun in taking off your own fucking underwear.
無才男がパンツ脱いで何が楽しい？
Yeah.
バカじゃないのか君は。
There's no There's no joy relishing in the feeling of conquest and taking off your own underpants.
うわー、変なとこだけ正気だなおめえ。ぶっちゃけ3回くらい殺したくなったけど、まあいいや今は。知らせに来たんだよ。姫は5日後に目覚める。
Huh? Okay.
おお、確かかね。
当ての目に狂いはせいぜい180度しかない。
では大丈夫だな。
こいつ人のボケはスルーなんだぜ。自分は人に散々突っ込ませてるくせによ。
誰が君の正規に陰茎を挿入したと？
んなことは言ってねえよ。うっかり何のひねりもないつまらんツッコミ入れちまった。
うるさいぞ、バカか君は。
Yes.
あって、いじめられてる。
Probably. It's like almost certainly like sexual harassment.
で、姫はその時刻に合わせて不堕落城に運び込まれるのかな？
ああ、その辺の手はずはもう整ってる。
やり直しは困難なのだ。間違いは犯してほしくない。確かに。
Also, hey, Chachamaru, what are you doing at a GHQ base?
確かに。
パンツは
履かせとく。
脱がせ。
嫌だ。
少女の無垢な下半身が見たい。
うるせえ。
そこに誰かいるのか。
Well, that was quick.
ああ、湿気。少々スターライトポエムタイムを楽しんでいたのだよ。
Yeah, I was just taken by my
君の
muse,
仕
you know.
事の邪魔だったかな。
申し訳ありません。教授でしたか。
No, no, you're just doing your job, man.
いやいやいや、
Yeah.
気にせず任務に戻ってくれたまえ。
はっ。
ああ、君。
はい。
パンツ脱いだ少女を持ってないか。ちょっと手持ちを切らしていてね。
いえ。
Yeah, not here. I left her back in my room.
失礼します。
君の愚かしい失態でプチピンチであった。気
Oh
をつ
yeah,
けたまえ
her
よ。
tomfoolery. Okay.
わかる気もしねえ。にしてもおめえ英語が達者だよな。大和語もだけどさ。
Well, I
本当に
mean,
ドイツ人か？
learning English and German, you know, vice versa for a native speaker is fairly easy as far as languages go. You know, the benefit of them essentially being cousin languages. But the Yamato is more impressive.
ドイツは故郷には違いないがね。そこで暮らした時間より世界を旅して回っていた時間の方が長い。母国など
It's like as far as like language learning goes for a native English speaker, it's like Japanese is one of the hardest, mainly due to the fucking absurdity of, you know, the kanji character system, and also the grammar syntax is completely different than a European language.
強いて言えばパンツ脱いだ少女が住まう国こそ我が母国。
So, like, sub-Saharan Africa?
おめえの居場所地球上にないからな。
まあ現在の国際情勢と僕の専門を鑑みれば、英語と大和語に熟達するのはシンプルな論理的帰結でしかないよ。
What is the nature of your research, huh?
そっか。
しかし君の能力も便利なものだね。突然現れるのもとっさに隠れるのも自在じゃないか。それ僕も修行とかすればなんとかなるかな。
さあ、なるんじゃねえの。とりあえず腕立て伏せ1万回からやってみ。
本当だな、やるぞ。それで身につかなかったらパンツ脱がす。
ああ、ごめんなさい、嘘つきました。あんたやるったら本当にやりそうだし、抵抗するのも無理っぽいから勘弁してください。
仕方ない。今回は士官だけで許
You know, he
して
wouldn't be
や
that
ろう。
bad looking if he wasn't so, like, ghastly pale, you know? Get in the sun a little, and, you know, my guy, he's kind of got the suave thing going on. But right now, he just kind of looks like a vampire.
やだよ。手箱一斉が絡みついて気持ち悪いよ。
堪能した。で、
Also, I just realized, my man, your like jacket thing is ridiculously tight around like your chest. Like, how does that work? It like goes under your tits. it would have to be like elastic material that's like fucking almost at like latex or something. Or spandex, sorry. Where it just completely conformed to the shape of your body. Absurd. Also the fact that it looks like you're not wearing like any undershirt underneath it. You might be wearing kind of like a crop top. You know, something that, you know, stops a little higher. Around like above, kind of above like your midsection, you know. I was gonna say above your navel, but you know, we can see your belly button right there, and fucking your coat's so tight you can see it through the shirt, but whatever. I don't understand your fashion. I like the belt though. I brought that up last time. I think the first time. You know, we saw you at the racetrack. You got like a fucking like Kamen Rider Henshin belt.
それはむしろこっちが聞きてえとこ。落とす用意はちゃんとできてんのか？
心配いらない。キャノン中佐は動かせる。つまりウィロー少将も動かせるし GHQ も動かせるということだ。
入れ子構造の組織って素敵だね。
偉大なる友キャノン君に幸あれ。やっ
ぱ脱ぐの？
Yeah.
冗談くらい理解してくれないものかね。これだから大和人は無粋だというのだよ。
They're also serious.
ごめんなさい、国民の皆さん。こんな変態にバカにされてしまいました。
ザ・ガジェットは定められた時刻に合わせて送り出す。あれと姫との開口が我々の求めた道をついに切り開くだろう。
A path to where? A device that does what?
ああ。
ゴールデンドーンのために。
ゴールデンドーンのために。
Oh, okay.
どうしワルフ。
Sure, man. Ooh, nice, nice, like, office here. The next day, he finds me bored. Already, 30 minutes have passed since the soldiers brought me here from my cell, and there's still no sign of the person I am purportedly here to meet. This Professor Wolf, the captain mentioned. I can only assume that he enjoys making people wait. The room's decor might be charitably described as chaotic. An African wood mask crowns a tower of old books, which itself sits opposite a pile of racing magazines that rivals it for height. The near wall sports a life-size poster of Oji Misao, the racer. Sporting some graffiti in one corner, I lean closer. It reads in beautiful penmanship, "Racers equal pantsless. Wunderbar!" A flummoxing annotation indeed. A what? A what annotation? A flummoxing? Flummoxing. Flummox. Flummoxing?
Flummox.
Perplex someone greatly, bewilder. From his title, I assume this professor is an academic, but his study offers no clue as to his field of expertise. At this point, I'd believe almost anything. I mean, judging by masks and pottery, I'd go anthropology? I can feel restlessness crawling like an army of ants through my skull. If I don't do something about them soon, they might start to feed on my brain. If this room were my own, then I could pass the time however I pleased, or sleep if I could truly find no way to occupy myself. But I cannot take such liberties here, not even though I see half a dozen things which I could examine more closely. Oh, it's far harder to sit idle surrounded by these oddities than it would be in my empty cell. Although, would the professor have allowed my guards to leave me here if he cared what I might do with his possessions? Let me reread that sentence. I lost the plot somewhere halfway through. Would the professor have allowed my guards to leave me here if he cared what I might do with his possessions? Okay. Perhaps there is nothing in this collection that demands privacy. It is also possible that he simply gave it no thought. I suppose nearly an hour has passed.
失礼。
Although not without guilt, I pick up the nearest stack of papers. It appears to be some sort of treatise. The title is A Fantasy of Cruxes. What is a crux? A crux is a melding of life and metal and exhibits the peculiar qualities of each. As life, it possesses regenerative faculties, human-like intelligence, and can act autonomously when required. At the same time, a crux is undeniably a tool. It exists first and foremost to be used, and as long as it is properly stored, a crux will never die or decay. And of course, a crux grants the warrior who wields its strength far beyond that of mortal men. What is it that separates a crux from a mere suit of armor? From whence does the crux derive its mythical powers? Thus far, science has failed utterly to answer this question, and there is no way to predict when this might change. Perhaps 100 years hence, the preeminent scholars of the age will still be pounding their fists against this very wall. Or perhaps a heretofore unknown genius, living like a hermit in the hills of Macedonia, will publish the answer in next month's New Science and render our struggle meaningless. But for we who live in this age, the most we can do is keep our brain cells grinding towards that distant finish line. The paper is incomplete. Here and there, it seems to skip entire sections. For centuries, we have studied metallurgy and biology, searching for the key to unlock the ultimate mystery. But I wonder, have we, in our zeal to uncover the truth, not neglected an area of study? Is there not a third element, no less vital than metal or flesh? What, the soul? We getting, theological? Let me get straight to the point. I'm speaking, of course, of water. As all who have studied cruxes know, the most important step in the forging process, the holiest of rituals, that for thousands of years remained cloaked in secrecy, is the quenching. In the final stage of the forging, when the armor is complete, the smith immerses the forge-hot armor and himself in a bath of water. When the steam clears and the quenching is complete, the human smith has vanished without a trace, leaving only the armor behind. But the armor has ceased to be but mere metal. It has become a crux, imbued with supernatural might. All that remains are the finishing touches, which the smith's disciples may complete without him. The prevailing consensus among crux scholars is that the water is a conduit for the smith's life essence, the glue by which the smith and armor are joined. But I have a different theory. What if it is the smith, or even the armor, that serves as a conduit, and the water that is the vital component of the complete crux? What if the water, not the flesh, is the source of its power? The implications are many and great, but before I delve into them, I suppose that I should provide my basis for this theory, that my learned colleagues will not find fault with my methods. Deep beneath the East Eurasian subcontinent lies a massive underground reservoir, formed eons past when shifting tectonic plates isolated a section that would later become the Pacific Ocean. Figure A is a map of this reservoir and its tributaries, overlaid atop a map of the globe. I obtained this data via Dr. Hausifer? Pronunciation. In German, please.
Ausrufe.
What?
Ausrufe.
Haushofer.
Ausrufe.
Haushofer. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Haushofer. You assured me that it represents the very cutting edge of geological research. Although available technology limits us to approximately 80% accuracy, it is more than sufficient for a purpose. What, some giant underground aquifer? Okay. Not unbelievable, you know, the US has a giant fucking aquifer underneath, like, the Great Plains. Like, absolutely absurdly large. That is being drained due to agricultural necessities and drinking water and, you know, just industrial water needs. Read up on it. Addendum. According to Dr. Haushofer, The distribution of groundwater in the East Eurasian Reservoir exhibits numerous unusual properties that cannot be explained by modern science. He hypothesizes that the distribution is due to the presence of anomalies, perhaps gravitational in nature. Figure B divides regions of the world by when they begin to forge cruxes. Figure C divides them by the current rate of crux production. By now, my esteemed readers, the correlation should be obvious. Just so. Earliest regions developed crux smithing were those closest to the underground reservoir. And while rate of production does not necessarily rise with proximity, we must not ignore the fact that it falls to 0 in areas untouched by the reservoir or its tributaries. Interesting. But, does fucking correlation imply causation? Or, don't be deceived by fucking charts that match each other, It's important to, be fucking smart when you're looking at data. Some of you are likely asking yourselves, what difference does it make? Water is essential to the crux smithing process. It is only natural for water-rich areas to favor crux production. But I ask you, friends, to bear in mind that not all the Earth's water shares the same source. Africa, Australia, North and South America, these continents are not bereft of water, and yet crux smithing is impossible in these regions. There is some debate over whether this has always been the case, but that is another topic entirely. Interesting. The conclusion is obvious. In order to forge a crux successfully, the water for quenching must come from the East Eurasian Reservoir. Yes, other explanations exist for this divide. The quality of iron is to blame, some posit, or a simple lack of aptitude among the native peoples of these lands. It is true that while water quality has always been important to cruxsmiths, you regard it as the most important factor. It is not difficult to understand. After all, there's no discernible difference between the water they use for the quenching and the water they use in everyday life. However, I ask you, can we disciples of modern science, which is yet unable to tell the difference between a crux and a lifeless slab of metal, see that our methods are not lacking as pertains to water as well? Which brings me to my hypothesis. I hypothesize that the answer we have sought for so long, the key to the mystery of what separates armor from crux, lies deep beneath the earth in the East Eurasian Reservoir. I've long believed that cruxes are themselves a form of life. They possess intelligence and autonomy. Autonomy, there we go. For some reason I want to throw an extra T in there, like make it autonomous, but no. Autonomy. Now I'm thinking too hard about the word and it doesn't sound right anyway I say it. Autonomy. Autonomy? Autonomy. If limited, and the process by which they convert their pilot's body heat to energy can be likened to a human's metabolism. I'm aware of the many counter-arguments. That what autonomy the intelligence of crux possess exists to serve its master, for example, and that cruxes, therefore, are a kind of machine. I have no intention of refuting these points. It is true that cruxes possess machine-like qualities. But those who reject the idea of crux as life inevitably conclude with the following: that cruxes do not reproduce and therefore cannot be alive. Cruxes do not reproduce. This is true. Why leap to the conclusion that they cannot therefore be alive? I mean, it's like fucking mules can't reproduce. And they're alive. A breed between a horse and a donkey. They're sterile, but they're still there. You'd have to try real hard to find someone that says, nah, that fucking that mule over there, and that's not real, that's not live. Anyway, where was I? Are you not overlooking another possibility? Namely, what if cruxes are the product of reproduction? Yeah, like I was saying, a flawed, incomplete product, one that, like a Leopon, is born sterile. In this case, the method of reproduction is the forging process itself. No doubt some will argue that true reproduction should not require the active participation of a third party. I do not intend to argue that point there. The idea of Crux's life is merely a useful rhetoric device and not the core of my thesis. Now we come to the penultimate question. If Cruxes are the product of reproduction, then what are they the offspring of? Metal? No, metal's not alive. Man? No. We already have the means to produce complete offspring. Then what? Water, of course. Or to be precise, something in the water. From a lightless cavern far below East Asia, something comes, creeping up through aquifers and underground rivers, until at last, after centuries or millennia, it reaches a natural spring hidden deep in a mountain cave. Perhaps a smith finds this cave and sets on forging a crux. He melts the ore, works the steel, hammering until the shape is wrought. The air is so hot that his clothes turn to ash, but the smith lifts his glowing armor and piece by piece sets it against his naked flesh. His skin burns, his flesh sizzles. The pain is unimaginable, but this is his purpose, and his will is no less strong than his steel. At last, when he has donned the final piece, the smith steps into the sacred spring. White-hot metal meets cold water. An explosion of steam fills the cave. And there, in the waters of the spring, something joins with the smith and the armor. And from this union, a crux is born. If you must look to nature for a similar example, I direct your attention to the... The Ophiocordyceps cineasis, commonly known as the caterpillar fungus. The spores of this fungus infect caterpillar larvae, killing and mummifying them, then draw nutrients from their corpse to produce strange mushrooms. Is this transformation from caterpillar to mushroom not similar to the process by which cruxes are born? To summarize my theory in these terms, I posit that the unidentified factor that determines whether water is suitable for crux smithing is, in fact, a kind of spore spread by a mushroom lurking in the East Eurasian reservoir. Interesting theory. Sure. Sensing eyes upon me, I look up, but the room is still empty. Did I imagine it? I must have. I return to the paper. Where did I leave? Scrawl in the corner of the page catches my eye. Its excited penmanship a stark contrast to the rest of the piece. I believe it is from the same hand, but the language is different as well. Instead of the English and Yamato and hodgepodge that comprise the paper itself, this looks like German. Mein mochten habe Crystal noch.
Mohoto hobo. Crystal nohoto.
Those got some bad connotations. At occasion to pick up some German while studying for a cure to my sister's illness. By plumbing the depths of that meager knowledge, I managed to guess what the writer meant to say. I believe it's something like, Great leader, what happened on the crystal night? Great leader? Oh, that was the common appellation? Okay. For the head of the Das Dritte Reich. Drite? How do I say that? Oh, German, why you like this? Right pronunciation. Germany. Dritte. Dritte. Das Dritte Reich. The unified German nation which the Allied powers defeated in the war. And then there's the Crystal Knight. But knowing what the words mean is not enough. There has to be some connection. Yeah, it's not good. So deep in thought I am, that when I glance away for a moment and see her standing there, I nearly cry out in surprise. Oh yeah, you're one of those European Amishi, ain't you? Where on earth did she come from? The room was empty a minute ago. Or was it? Could she have been there all along? Preposterous as the idea might seem, This girl possesses a certain quality that makes it entirely believable. Which is to say that she has no presence. Nothing to say, I am here, beyond the photons reflected from her body. I've never seen someone who could stand steadily and upright, eyes wide open, yet seem so lifeless.
あなたは
Nothing. Not even a blink.
彫像
The absurd notion takes root in my brain. Desperate to know for certain, I touch a finger to her cheek. It's soft and warm. She's the person after all. My touch must have triggered something that my voice could not. She finally blinks, just once, then lifts her face to me. She stares into my eyes and keeps staring, once more motionless. For some inexplicable reason, I'm reminded of that girl from the racetrack.
なぜ
What, the eyes? Makes no sense. All I can do is return her stare in silence. I mean, they said Chachimaru is
とこ
like
ろでパ
a
ンツの現在
fucking-
進行形はパンチングで良いのか
she's a mix, ain't she?
いえそもそもそれはどんな動詞ですか
Is it? I turn. And find myself face to face with a tall man in a dapper waistcoat. His enormous beard and wide probing eyes speak to all the vitality that the strange girl lacks. His age is difficult to place, though I would not be surprised if he were younger than he first appeared. I'm certain that he cannot be under 40. As I'm about to introduce myself, the man steps past me.
なんだここにいたのかリトルガールま人生は大概こんなものだな
So
青い
what's
鳥はいつだって自宅にいるなくした財布は机の引き出しに収まっているそんなものだ
It's a interesting collar thing she's got there. With I can't quite tell what it is on the side of that, you know, the thing on her neck. There's like a thing hanging there. Kind of looks like a padlock, but I don't think it is. We need to get a close up of her sprite so I'd be able to actually discern what it is.
さあ部屋に戻りなさいもう子供は休む時間だよトイレを済ませて歯を磨いてパジャマを着てパンツは脱いでベッドに入りたまえ特に最後は大事だぞ
Although the girl remains silent, she allows the man to take her hand and guide her towards the back room. Once she is gone, the man turns to me.
僕にはかねてから不思議でならないことがある
なんでしょう
なぜ人はパンツを履く
Well, it's generally just for, like, support, honestly. Like, and, you know, keep them from rubbing and getting irritated. Because, you ever try running, like, wearing, like, fucking boxers and, like, just regular basketball shorts? That shit sucks.
それは哲学に属する問題ですか
そう言っても差し支えない君は疑問に思ったことはないかね人は生まれつきパンツを履いていたわけではないにもかかわらず誰もがパンツを履くまるで天命のごとくにだ
And it's a little unbecoming if someone can just, like, you know, if your trousers just so happen to fall in a certain way where they can just completely see the outline of your cock and balls, you know.
しかしその一方で誰もがパンツを脱ぐではないかパンツを履いたまま成功する者がいるかパンツを履いたまま
I mean, sometimes.
する者がいるか
稀には
Yeah.
それは背徳行為としてだろう
特殊な思考であることは認めます
Okay. Not like actually fucking pissing in your pants. That's gross, but sometimes, you know, have you ever worn dress pants? If you have, you know what I mean. Like the zipper's really fucking tall and the like button goes like almost to your belly button, yeah? So it's like you zip it down and that's why it's kind of like underpants. They got like the folds in the front so that way you're able to like kind of like dig your cock out and just like fucking go like that instead of having to like undo your dress pants, because sometimes you're wearing suspenders or a belt, and like fucking then you're with your pants fucking like down around your ankles, basically. Like, just undo the zipper and like dig it out, and then, you know, just fucking same process in reverse.
正常な人間はパンツを脱ぐのだ。ならば何故最初から脱いでおかない。
Well, like I said, for support and to, you know, avoid friction.
履かなければよいではないか。
なるほど。趣旨は理解しました。
So you going like commando right now?
そうか。君は僕に賛同してくれるのだね。
いいえ。
何？
パンツを履いておくべきでしょう。
なぜだ？
今度は自分からお尋ねしますが。
うん。
いい年の男がパンツ履かずに歩いていたら嬉しいですか？
Well, how would you know?
君は僕を侮辱する気か？
お答えください。
右手に38口径、左手にパンツを持ってすぐに履けと命令するよ。
But really, only a 38? Like, I'm walking around with someone kick like a fucking 357. That's what I got.
なるほど。では、そうして男にパンツを履かせるのは楽しいですか？
Well, yeah, that's a man. Fucking put some underpants on.
最悪だな。
逆に、女性のパンツを脱がせるのは
Exhilarating.
人生の喜びだ。
そういうことです。
ん？
誰もがパンツを脱いでいる世界で醜い者にパンツを履かせて回るのと、誰もがパンツを履いた世界で美しい人のパンツを脱がせて回るのと、どちらがより優れた人生か、答えは明々白々でしょう。
ほー！
Ah, kindred spirit. The man throws back his head and lifts his hands as though welcoming angels.
すんばらしい！完璧だ！なんてこった！長年の謎がついに評価した！こんなにも簡単に！ああ！ハレルヤー！ハレルヤー！
Ooh, good roll.
僕はバカか？
Yeah.
かなりの高確率で。
Though I could say the same for myself. My participation in this debate was reflexive. Now, looking back, I have no clue as to its purpose.
しかしね、それでもやはり人はパンツを脱がなくてはならんのさ。
は？
正気を隠すのは羞恥心の証。羞恥心は知恵の源泉だ。この小賢しい知恵というやつが我々を神の増果てから遠ざける。
Okay, let's get biblical.
これがある限り人は神に許されない。いくら神を求めても届かない。神を目指す者は裸であるべき。
Yes, if we are truly made in God's image, who are we to, you know, hide away, you know, part of God's creation?
何もかもして去って祈る。さすれば神は昇り来たる。
Abruptly, the man strides around his desk and takes a seat in the old leather chair. Agrestes. Ugh. He then motions for me to sit across.
港影明くんだね。
はい。あなたは？
ウォルフだ。皆にはプロフェッサーウォルフと呼ばれている。
As I assumed. This is the man who sent Captain Otori to retrieve me.
大学で教鞭を取られているのですか？
確かにそんな時代もあったが、今は違うよ。けれど司令部の要請に応じて大和語の講義なんかをしているのでね、ここでは。それでみんな教授と呼んでくれるのだろ
う。Reasonable explanation?
先ほどから感銘を受けておりましたが、実に流暢な大和語です。
ありがとう。だがね、僕が大和語の扱いに慣れているのは別に奇跡ではなく、ごくごく当然のことだよ。
How so?
と言われると。
簡単な話さ。何しろ、大和といえばパンツの国。い
いえ。
My home is no such thing.
違った。何しろ大和といえばパンツ履かない国。
まあ、
I suppose that was true until the modern era.
違った。何しろヤマトといえば剣の国。
Yeah, putting aside my personal, areas of study, my professional ones. How we confuse Tsurugi for panties, I do not want to know. So Tsurugi, if his interest lies there, then his field of expertise is likely engineering. Archaeology is also a possibility, or perhaps even...
フォルクロアだよ。
He intones, as if responding to my thoughts. So Volk is people. What is kunde? I put like a Japanese spin on there. They'll probably explain it, but I want to know. Volk's meaning, please. Folklore. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
フォルクロ
Oh, duh. Well, folklore, if I'm not mistaken. I look around the room. I look at the room. I look again at the room around me. There we go, third time.
ア。なるほど。
That explains a great deal. The paper I just read must be his work as
ヤ
well.
マトを無視して人類文化における剣の意味を解き明かそうなんて笑い草だろう。
外国の方にそう言っていただけるのは大和人として喜ばしいことです。
ああ、君たちは誇るべき文化を持っているよ。この狭い島国の中でよくぞこうまで独自の技術を発展させたものだ。
I'll have to take your word for it.
その点において君たちは全欧州国家を合わせたより優秀であったかもしれない。
恐縮です。しかし我々は産業革命という大偉業を成し遂げることも、
Alright,
その
let's
流れ
not
から剣の
like
量
just
産
sit
技
here
術を
stroking
開
each
拓す
other
る
off
こ
all
とも
day.
独力では果たせませんでした。
では一長一短としておこうか。だがね、僕個人はあくまでヤマトの優秀性を評価する。いや、期待していると言った方がいいな。
それを
Yeah, what?
僕の望みを君たちが叶えてくれるのではないかという期待だよ。
Is it just my imagination? I feel like he's no longer speaking of Yamatoans as a whole.
さて、要件を済ませてしまおうかな。
要件。
君を呼び出した要件だよ、もちろん。
Yeah, tell me about your weird fucking Tsurugi. Of course, the professor must have many demands on his time. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. He would not have summoned me unless he wanted something.
現在自分は捕虜としてまず妥当な扱いを受けていると考えております。そのため積極的に敵対する意図は有しておりません。教授のご要望が自分あるいは自分の関係者に著しい不利益をもたらすものでない限り可能な範囲で善処をいたしましょう。
Splendid.
まあそんな大げさな話じゃない。簡単な用事でね、すぐに済む。
は、
君は健康か？
For the most part.
はい。おおむね身体機能に支
I
障
was
はあ
recently
りません。
poisoned, but besides that,
明日の朝になってみたらうっかりぽっくり言っていたりしないかね？
まず大丈夫かと。
ならよい。用事は済んだ。もう実質に戻ってくれて構わないよ。
okay.
君をここまで連れてきた兵士が外で待っている。
要件とはこれだけなのですか？あなたは大鳥大尉にも自分を殺さず連れてくるよう願われたとか。よろしければお教えいただきたい。
Yeah.
すでに教えたよ。君たちには期待している。
Okay.
さっきそう言っただろう。
We just here to get a baseline? For some study you're doing?
君の未来にグリューネドラヘの羽音が響かんこと。
All right. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like that's a good place to stop for today. So, once again, I'd like to thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, ring the notification bell. See you guys on the next one for the next episode of Full Metal Demon Muramasa, where we will continue that prison life and hopefully get some answers about what the fuck we're doing now that we're essentially being held hostage by GHQ, and how our personal relationships are going to progress now that things have kind of got a little wacky, but that'll have to wait till next time. Catch you guys later.